Hmm. Hello, everybody. I'm Lisa Shield, and this is Lunch with Lisa. Thank you for joining me. And I do two of these broadcasts each week. The first is this one, Lunch with Lisa. And then I also do one with my husband, Benjamin, called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. And that initially airs on Sundays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So please join us for that as well. It is lovely to see you all. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas holiday. My husband and I were here alone together, and we had a beautiful, spontaneous day. We just actually did almost nothing. I whipped up a wonderful brunch, and then we tried to order some fin, and he said, "Oh, no, there's lots of places open." And we put in an order. He drove to the restaurant and they were closed. They forgot to put that they were not open on Christmas Day. And so we wound up thawing out a frozen lasagna. And luckily, we had gone the day before to the store and gotten some fresh vegetables for a salad. And so we had a beautiful dinner. I lit some candles. And yeah, it was so wonderful just to have this beautiful, spontaneous day. And we also had put our lovely little dog Milo to sleep on Tuesday. And so we were still kind of mourning the loss of this wonderful dog that we had had for 14 and a half of the 19 years that we've been together. So that was a tremendous loss for us to lose Milo. And we still have two beautiful puppies that we got right at the beginning of the pandemic. So they're about 18 months old, both of them. We have a beautiful Bernese mountain dog named Oliver. And we have a wonderful other Shar Pei, a second Shar Pei, and his name is Jax. So we still have two lovely, lovely dogs, but Milo has left a hole that will never be filled. And it was also just, we've both lost pets when we were single, and having a partner to go through that with was really lovely. It made it all, the next day after we had put Milo to sleep, we had someone come to the house, and Benjamin said, how could a day that was so awful have been so beautiful? So, yeah, so it's been a mixed holiday season, both, of appreciating the love that we have and also loss. So today we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. And we all make these New Year's resolutions when it comes to love. And I'm kind of curious how many of you, said last year was going to be the year that you were going to find love. How many of you thought, this is going to be the year where I get this solved? You can put that, you can let me know, but many, many, many of you, um, I'm guessing, thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to be alone. 2021 is going to be the year that I find love. And here you are, some of you again, and you don't have that partner, that love that you're longing for. And, New Year's resolutions, very often we make these promises to ourselves. And the reason they don't work is because we have no real plan. We have nothing, no step by step roadmap for getting this thing solved. And what I find is that, myself included, there have been so many times in my life where I've woken up and I've said, okay, I'm going to make this change. This time I'm going to stick to my diet. This time I'm going to lose weight. This time, I'm going to quit smoking, only to fall back into my old patterns or throw up my hands and give up when things got tough again. Or I would just get frustrated and I'd fall back into my old patterns, and I'd quit. And this is the thing for a lot of you, and again, myself included, fail to plan, plan to fail. And so it's not enough just to sit and make a list of the things that you're going to change in 2022. You actually have to have a roadmap, a plan, a strategy that you are going to stick to if you're going to make these changes. And I don't care if you get a bunch of girlfriends together who are single and you say, okay, we are going to hold each other accountable. We're going to make a plan. We're going to go on X number of dates a week. We're going to talk about our dates. We're going to encourage each other. We're going to follow Lisa Shield. We're going to listen every week to her two podcasts, and we're going to talk about what we're learning. We're going to read a dating book every couple of weeks, and we're going to pick, some great books on love and relationship and partnership. And we are going to take those strategies and implement them. Maybe you decide, with your girlfriends, with your support group, that you're going to read the 4 Agreements or the Mastery of Love or any other dating book that you think might be useful. Go on Amazon and do a search. But you're going to take a book, and then you guys are going to read that book, and you're going to all together apply the strategies that you are learning. If you do not have accountability, if you don't have a plan, if you do not have a roadmap for finding love and a commitment to doing this differently, you are going to wake up in 2023 or 2024 or 2025 in the same place. So part of changing any part of our lives means that we have got to commit. So the first thing I would suggest that you do is write out a contract or an agreement with yourself or with your support group, whether it's one girlfriend or a group of girlfriends that you're going to get together with on a regular basis. But having an accountability partner, number one, maybe it's a girlfriend who's already in a relationship who can support you through this, but you need to join a coaching group or a coaching program. There's all kinds of stuff on Facebook, or you can do my program. I have a 12-week program called Emotionally Naked Dating that, I walk people through a step-by-step process, but you need to have a plan. Before you start that plan, you have to write out a contract and commit to yourself to not quitting. So a huge piece of this is you've got to come up with some kind of contract. It can be a very simple contract or agreement with yourself that you are committed to this journey. You are committed to the growth and learning. You are going to use this entire process, everything that happens, all the men that you meet. You're going to make an agreement that instead of blaming men or online dating or getting frustrated and quitting, you are going to take these challenges and look inside at yourself and ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What is it that I need to learn from this experience so I can grow and keep going? So you will write out a contract where you are going to grow and learn and take personal responsibility for the mistakes that you're making. And you're going to stretch. You're going to use dating as a path to finding true love. Very, very few people really understand that the dating journey is not just, oh, every time you go on a date, is this my husband? Is this my husband? Is this my husband? No, every single encounter along the way is mirroring, reflecting back to you places where you need to grow. So, you may meet a guy and you may really like this person and he may ghost you. So you want to make sure that you look at, was there something I could have done differently? Maybe I'm not clear enough on how to recognize the signs of a man who is really emotionally available from a man who's avoidant, right? A man who has intimacy issues. If you keep finding that you meet men and then they lose interest or they keep ghosting you, you need to recognize that there's a pattern there. If something keeps happening repeatedly over and over and over again, you are the common denominator in that equation. And so the reason that thing keeps happening over and over again is not to punish you. It's actually teaching you. It's showing you that there is a gap in your knowledge. And so you need to take a step back and say, okay, what am I missing here that this keeps happening over and over and over again? If you're not getting to a second date, let's say you keep going out with guys and you meet some guys that you really do like, and they are not asking you out again. You need to look at yourself and say, what is it I might be doing that isn't working? Why are these men losing interest? Is it because maybe I'm not present enough? Maybe I'm not playful enough? Maybe I'm too in my head? Maybe there's something I'm missing here that I need to learn. Again, these are the kinds of things I teach the women in my course. I teach them how to start to break these patterns, how to recognize them, how to look inside, how to be able to take a deep breath. There's a group component to my course, which is really powerful because when the women are in a group, they can observe other women who are going through the same process. This is one of the reasons why having some kind of support group as you're dating is invaluable, because you can often learn from watching other women, observing what they're doing wrong, and you can see mistakes you're making by watching where other women are struggling. And it's easier to observe the mistakes that you're making in other women because you're too close to the subject. So we can keep thinking, oh, trying to self-diagnose, but when you're in a group or you're working with other people, if you're going to grow faster, you need feedback. You need feedback. Otherwise, I had a teacher once, a writing teacher, and he was talking about Malcolm Gladwell said, in order to master something, you need to do it for 10,000 hours. But what my writing teacher said is if you do something for 10,000 hours and you are not introducing any new thought, you're not learning anything new, you will just keep doing the same thing. Even if you could go on 10,000 dates and you could still keep making the same mistakes if you're not learning and growing and reading books, working with coaches, listening to my podcast. This podcast is Dating Without Drama. This particular episode, I do 2 a week. This one is called Lunch with Lisa. But there's a second one that I do with my husband, which is really phenomenal. I highly recommend you all tune into that one. The podcast is called Dating Without Drama. And that episode that we release each week, we put out a brand new episode with Benjamin and me, is called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. That podcast is brilliant because my husband is a mature man, a real man, masculine. He has his priorities straight. He has, he is a man, a real man, like a man's man. Men admire him and look up to him. He's ethical. He has integrity. He's kind. He's generous. He's giving. And Benjamin shares his perspective on dating, love, relationships, and what it means to be a man. So listening to that podcast is going to expand your understanding of men and how they think. And being able to date successfully in 2022 means that you want to start to understand men. Most women have such a superficial understanding of men. You know, one of my biggest breakthroughs when I started dating and I got on this path and I decided that I was going to find the guardian of my soul. One of the big breakthroughs, my come to Jesus moment with myself was that I sat back and I was like, Lisa, you know almost nothing about how men think, how they feel. All you really know is a bunch of BS that you've, sort of put together from the men that you've observed. And, my knowledge of men was from other women and hearing all the cliches and the things that we tell each other. Men just are, all they want is sex, and, boys love their toys, and men are emotionally unavailable. I had all of these negative limiting beliefs about men, but I really knew very, very little about how they really think and how they feel. So, um, yeah, you've got to start to really learn about and have compassion for that man who's sitting across from you on a date. And I started to realize that men are sensitive, they're gentle, they're kind, they want to make us happy, like the good ones, the ones who really are emotionally available and looking for relationships. And they feel as misunderstood by us as we feel misunderstood by them. I also learned that I needed to open my heart and start to become vulnerable. I was this kind of woman who had it all together and I wanted a man, but I didn't need a man. And I actually had a man who went on a date with me once, and he walked me, he saw me at the gym, and we, asked me out, took me to this beautiful restaurant. And then at the end of the date, he was walking me, he walked me up to my door, and I thought he was going to kiss me goodnight. And he said to me, he said, whenever I'm on a date, I'm always listening for how I can play a part in a woman's life, like how I can be there for her. And he said, you don't need anything. You've got it all together. And I wouldn't even know what role I could play in your life, because you've just got it all together and all figured out. And when he left, I thought, God, I'm not needy. I'm not one of those women. If you want a needy woman, I know a million of them, but that's not me. And it took me 2 years to realize that what he was telling me was that I wasn't vulnerable and there was no room in my life for a man. And so that was a huge eye opener for me, because I was coming across as having my life so together that a man couldn't feel like there was room for him in my life. And my husband, Benjamin, says this all the time. He'll read the material that he writes. My husband writes the online dating profiles for our clients. He writes a short one for the dating apps, and he writes a longer one for things like Match.com and OkCupid and Zoosk. And he said so many of the women, when they submit the material for their profile, like it just sounds like, I've got this going on, I've got that, I do this, I do that, I travel, I have grandkids, I have this, I have that. There's so much going on in this woman's life and her career and her this and her that. Any man reading that would think, the women think, well, I don't, I want him to know that I've got this full, rich life. But a guy reading it would be like, oh, well, that's all fine and good, but like, what is she going to do for me? And how am I going to fit into that? Right? There's no room for a man in a life like that. So back to New Year's resolutions and how to get this solved. If you truly want to find love, you are going to have a plan. And that doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to go on Match.com and I'm going to do this and I'm just going to get back on the dating sites. All you're going to do is spin your wheels some more out there if you've been on and off the sites for years. This isn't just about finding a needle in a haystack. This is about you evolving and growing. And like anything else we do in life, it's about learning from your experience. If there are repeating patterns, looking at those patterns that are repeating, acknowledging that you're the common denominator and asking yourself why you have what seem like great first dates or even second dates, and then you don't hear from the guy again. Why does that keep happening? Why does he stop calling after 2 dates? Is there something you need to be doing differently? Could you be more feminine? Could you listen better? Or maybe you need to open up and share more. I don't know what the stretch is for you, but one way to really learn is to do this with a qualified coach who can, so that you're not operating in a vacuum and so that you can get feedback. Feedback is key if you're going to change and open up and become more vulnerable so that you can attract this man into your life. Just going on dates and hoping to meet the one is not a solution. That's not a plan. So again, you need a plan. You need a support system, either a professional coach, preferably a group, a coaching group, so that you can learn not just from your own experience, but from the experience of others, working with a qualified coach like me. If you're interested, you can go to lisashield.com and watch my free 45-minute presentation. And, I will talk, you will learn a lot just from my presentation. You can watch my podcasts. I release 2 episodes every week. And you can learn from doing my 12-week emotionally naked dating course, which also has a huge group component. So part of my course is that my husband and I jump on a call twice a week with all the women in the group. There's about 50 women in the course right now. And so you don't just learn from Benjamin and me, and you don't just learn from your own experience, but you learn from the experience of 50 other women who are just like you, talented, successful, educated women, smart women who have everything else they want in life except a loving partner to share it with them. And so you're not alone. You're not operating in a vacuum. You're learning from these other women, from their experiences, and you're getting direct feedback from Benjamin and me, who is more qualified to help you and give you feedback than 2 people who have been in one of the most successful 19-year relationships I've ever seen. My husband and I adore each other. After 19 years, we're still best friends, lovers, playmates. And we can teach you not just how to date, but how to find a partnership like ours. And here's the best news. We met online the same way people are meeting. Most people are meeting today, especially during the pandemic. We met online. So we're not just giving you hypothetical information about how to date online. We did it. Many, many other coaches out there, they never dated online. Many of them met their partners through other means. They pretend to be online dating experts, but my husband and I actually met each other online. And not only that, I've been coaching women like you. I have hundreds and hundreds of babies and marriages and engagements to my credit because I've been doing this for almost nearly 2 decades, about 19 and a half years now. So I feel, and my clients will tell you, that the feedback and the perspective that we have on this process is different from other coaches. and it works. It's dignified. We're not going to tell you to sit there and play hard to get and not answer a man's texts and not, whatever, lean back and let men chase you. Yes, a man has to show interest. He's got to be interested. You can't be doing all the pursuing, but there are many, many, many things that you can do proactively to make men want to pursue you. And that's what smart women know. They know exactly what to do, how to say things. They understand how to flirt over text and be playful. But yes, you do have to take the feminine lead. So all of these are things that you need to learn. Otherwise, you're going to be out there spinning your wheels and more years will go by. If you want to make 2022 the year that you find the guardian of your soul, then let's get this year started off right. Reach out to me. Sign up for a call. Sign up for a call and let us show you how we can help you make this year's New Year's resolution for real. So one of my listeners, Amy, said, I met my husband online 22 years ago before it was cool to date online. LOL, divorced for 3 years. Oh, well, Amy, I think you and I started dating online right around the same time, girlfriend, because I was on for 2 years before I met my husband. So we started right around the same time. I don't know about you, but I remember when I used to tell people that I was dating online, they would say, oh, the kind of guy I'm looking for would never be online. And I used to laugh because I was in a class at the time. I was getting my master's degree in spiritual psychology, and I was in a class of about 260 people, and I was bragging. I thought online dating was really cool. I was so excited, and I would tell people that I was dating online, and I had so many people just look at me and be like, yeah, I wouldn't do that, And then what happened was I met my husband, and he actually wrote one of the books that we read while I was in getting my master's. So he wrote one of our books. I stood up in front of the class and I said, look, I know a lot of you think that the kinds of people you'd be looking for are spiritual, awake people, evolved people, wouldn't be online. And I just wanted to share that I'm dating one of the authors of one of the books we just read. So yeah, there's all kinds of cool people online, and you just have to know. Amy said people thought we were crazy. He was in New York. I was in Alabama. I moved to New York. That's fantastic, Amy. Good for you. Well, it sounds like the two of you had a good long run, even if it didn't, go the distance. All right, everybody. Well, I am Lisa Shield. This has been Lunch with Lisa. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, please, please like and rate my podcast, sign up for my YouTube channel, and go to lisashield.com and watch my free 45-minute presentation. Also, look out for my new website. I have a fabulous, fabulous website that we are going to debut in 2022. I have spent a fortune on this thing, and I have spent a fortune on this website, and it is chock full of information. It's really beautiful. So please keep checking back because it's really, really lovely. And please come see me again for Lunch with Lisa, and tune in to my other broadcast, which is Getting Inside the Right Male Mind with me and my husband, Benjamin. All right. Love to everybody. Happy Happy New Year. I will see you all in 2022. And also, if you have any suggestions for topics you would like for me to cover on the, on either Lunch with Lisa or discuss with my husband, Benjamin, you can send that to dwdpod@gmail.com, dwdpod@gmail.com. I'm Lisa Shield, and this has been Lunch with Lisa. Happy, happy New Year to everybody. And I will see you in 2022. Bye-bye, everybody.